Hello and welcome to this complete Java tutorial series from Mascot Tech. In this video, we will continue talking about operators in Java. In a previous video, we covered some operators in Java, and to make the video shorter, we are doing the operators into videos, and this one is a continuation of the previous video about operators in Java. In the other video, we talked about assignment operators, mathematical operators, logical operators, and relational operators. So in this video, we will continue with the rest of the operators: equality operators, ternary operators, increment and decrement operators, and casting operators. So let's start with equality operators. So equality operators are used to check equality of two variables or two values. So the equality operator is the double equal sign, this one, and the non-equality operator is the exclamation mark and the equal sign operator. So these two are the equality operators, and let's see them in action. Let's go to Eclipse. I have this project from a previous video. Let's continue using this same project for this one as well. As you can see, let me make this a little bit bigger so that you can see better. Okay, so I have these two variables. I have a short s and an int I. I is 10,000 and s is 300. Now let's use the equality operators, and we can assign the value of that to a variable, or we can also directly print the result, but let me save it to a variable. So it will be a Boolean, so I will say Boolean R to mean a result equals s equal I semicolon. So what this will do is this will return either true or false, depending on whether s is equal to I or no, and the value of that is assigned to R using this assignment operator. So now let's print the result. To do that, we say system.out.println, system.out.println, and then we'll say R and semicolon in here. Or we can add some explanation in a quotation mark, and we can say equality, or let's say s equal I in colon. I'll say space. Let me close the quotation marks and then use the concatenation operator. So now this should say s equal I colon and either true or false. So let's save this and run and see. Save, run. As you can see down here, it says s equal I colon false. What it means is s equal to I is false because 300 is not equal to 10,000, right? So because of that, this one gives us a false result. If these two were equal, then we will have a true result. Or to do that, let me just create another variable. Let me call int, or yeah, I can say int, and is 3, and say equal to 300, and I can say s equals s3. Now what I'm saying is 300 is equal to 300. So S3 is 300 and S is 300. Now this should return true. So let me save this and run it. I forgot to change this one, so I should have changed this to S3. This returned false because I did not change this. I only changed it here, okay? So let me save this one and run it again. Yeah, as you expect, it says S equals S3 is true because 300 equals 300. Okay, great. The other one is not equal sign. So for that one, we can, let's use I again and change this one to exclamation mark, not equal I. And then now let us change this, not equal I, right? So we say S is different from I, or S is not equal to I, and then that's what I did here. So let's save this. So what is S? S is 300, I is 10,000. So they are not equal, so this will return true. Let's save and run it. Yeah, S does not equal to I is true, okay? But if I say I change this to S3, then this will be false. Because what I'm saying is 300 does not equal to 300. So S is 300, S3 is also 300. So if, let's change this so that, okay. Now this should return false. Let's save and run it. Yeah, as you can see, it says S does not equal to S3 is false. Okay, so that is all about equality operators. The next one is a ternary operator. So what is a ternary operator? We have a condition. The condition will be before this question mark, and if the condition is true, the value between the question mark and the colon will be returned. If this condition is false, then the value after the colon will be returned. So now let's see ternary operator in action. Okay, for that one, we can say like S is less than I, something like that in the condition. Let's print it directly. System.out.println, and then say S is less than I, question mark. Let's say S is less than I. And then colon, we'll say S is greater than or equal to I. Okay, now this is the ternary operator. So we have a condition here before the question mark, and then we have this value. If this is true, it will return this. If this is false, if S is not less than I, this will be displayed. Now let's save and see if this gives us what we anticipate. Okay, S is less than I. Yeah, so this one is from before. Yeah, because S is less than I, S is 300 less than 10,000, it returned this S is less than I. If this was not the case, we would have this result. Okay, if I change this condition to, let's say, S equal I, then we'll say S equal I, else S does not equal I. So now we're using the equality operators. Now let's save and run and see. Let's run it. Okay, what did I get? So S does not equal to I. So in this case, because S does not equal to I, so this becomes false. When this is false, you will return the second value, not the first one. So that's why we got S does not equal to I in here. If this were true, we could have received this one. So this is a ternary operator. So you can have any kind of condition in here that returns true or false. So it can be any of the other operators that return a condition, okay? So you can use those, and then if the condition is true, it will return the first one. If the condition is false, it will return the second value, okay? And moving on, the next operators are increment and decrement operators. They are plus plus and minus minus. Now let's move on. Let's move here, and we have S and I. Let me use I. Let me come here and let's print system dot out dot println, and then say, let me put this in quotation to provide some explanation or documentation. I say I colon I plus plus colon, this is space, then plus I plus plus. Let's save this, run and see. So this is just a string, right? Because I put it in double quotes so that it makes it a string. It doesn't do anything with I in here. So it just prints I plus plus colon space. Then after that, this is the concatenation operator. When it's used after a string, it will be concatenation. And then it will append the value of I plus plus. So let's save and run and see the result. I plus plus says 10,000. I said these are increment operators, but it did not actually increment the result. Why? These increment operators, they are two types. The one type is called the prefix operator. The second one is a postfix operator. So this one will increment the value after this. After this statement, the result is incremented, not while this statement is being executed. So if I add another print, so we should return 10,001. So we were expecting 10,001 in here, but it gave us 10,000. Why? Because it's a postfix increment operator. So that happens after this statement. So let's say system dot out dot println, and now say I plus plus colon space, then plus I. If I say I now, it should return 10,001. Let's see if that's true. Let's save and run it. As you can see, the first one printed I plus plus colon 10,000, and the next one printed I plus plus 10,001. So if we put this increment operator plus plus after a variable, that increasing of the variable happens after the execution of this statement, not while this statement is being executed. So that is the reason why this is 10,000. But in the next print, the value of I is incremented by 1, and it returned 10,001. If we want to get the result at this stage, we can put the increment operator before the variable like this, like plus plus, and then remove this. If I do this, now I should get 10,001 in here and also down here. Let's save this and run it. Yeah, as you can see here, we see I++ colon 10,001 in here and also 10,001 in the second one. So the ++I and I++, they both increment the value of the variable by 1, but the difference between the two is when we put the increment operator before the variable, the increasing of the value happens in that statement while that statement is being executed. So we increment the value and then do this operation. But if we put the increment operator after the variable, that's called the postfix operator. In that case, the variable, we will do the task in here, and then the value of the variable is incremented after that. Okay, and it's the same with the decrement operator. So if I want to do that, I can say minus minus here, and I do minus minus here. The only difference is this one decreases the value, but the previous one, the plus plus, increases the value of the variable. Now let's save this and run it. As you can see, I minus minus is 99.99 and I is 99.99. Well, this needs to be like this because we use the prefix. Yeah, so minus minus I is 99.99 and I after that is also 99.99 because we first decreased the value of I by 1 and then printed the result here, and then also we printed the value of I because it's incremented and stored in the same variable. So in this case we got the same 99.99. And if we change this to minus minus and minus minus here, now let's save and run and see the result. So I minus minus is 10,000, and what it did was it printed the result of I in this one, in this line, in this statement. It printed the value of I, and then it decreased the value by 1. So when I printed the value of I in the next statement, we got 99.99. So that is all about increment and decrement operators. The last type of operator is a casting operator. We do casting when we want to change the data type of a variable. Say if I want to change this 10,000, as you can see it's int, right? If I want to change this to a double, what I can do is, let's save it in another variable of type double, dd, let me call it dd because I have another d down here from a previous tutorial. D equals, how we do the casting is we use the parentheses and then we put the type. I want the value to be double, so I will do this like this and then say I. That's it. That's all about casting operator. If I want to change I to a double, what I will do is I put double in parentheses in front of the variable, and that's it for the casting. Let's print both I and dd and see the result. System .out.println I, let me put this I colon plus I, plus, say d, let me put space in here, dd colon, let me put space in here also, plus dd. What this will do is I will put I colon space and the value of I, and then dd colon space the value of dd. So now let's save this and run it. Call this, yeah, I is 10,000 and dd is 10,000.0. Yeah, so what I can do is I can put something like this, or I can do a new line also if I want. Save and run. Now you should see the semicolon in here. Or I can do, change this, backslash, and I can do this. So this will print a new line. Backslash n will print a new one. So the column will be in a new line. So let's save this and run it. So as you can see, I colon 10,000, dd colon 10,000.0. Don't want this space. See, this is space because I added this space because it's a new line. Now I don't need that. Let me save this and run it. So yeah, now there's no extra space in here. So I 10,000, dd is 10,000.0. Why? Because I changed it to a double. That's all about operators in Java. In a previous video, we talked about assignment operators, mathematical operators, logical operators, and relational operators. And in this video, we talked about equality operators, ternary operator, increment and decrement operators, and casting operators. I hope this video was helpful. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them in the comments section. If you are new to my channel, don't forget to subscribe so that you don't miss any videos from this complete Java tutorial series, and also make sure to turn on the notification bell so that you get notified when I release or upload a new video. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video.